What's up, guys? It's NottheWinner, and I wanted to go over all three of the playable classes in the early access. Now, who knows, during the second weekend, they may end up giving us access to either Druid or Necromancer, but sorry about that. But more than likely, we're only going to be able to play these three classes: the Rogue, the Barbarian, and the Sorcerer. So I've made all three characters. My Sorcerer is level 25, my Barbarian I think is 16, and my Rogue 17 at the moment. Um, Overall, there's a few really cool features about each of these characters. So if I go into the abilities here, you can see I took the Invigorating Strike route, and I did try Heartseeker and I also tried Forceful Arrow, both pretty cool, but since I used Barrage, I didn't think it was fair to go only ranged. I like having some up close moves. And also the bonus energy regeneration that you get from Invigorating Strike is pretty darn useful. You get specializations at level 15. I'll unlock the next piece of it at level 20 called Inner Sight. But for right now, at level 15, I get combo points. So now my basic skills, whenever I use a basic attack, gets me a combo point, as you can see by these three right here. And based on how full I get it, my other abilities get enhanced, which in this case it would be Barrage specifically. As you can see, it goes from 67 damage per arrow to 80, then 94, then 107, and there's additional arrows. Instead of 5, it goes 6, 7, and then 8. So getting 8 arrows at 107 damage instead of 5 arrows at 67 damage, it's more than double the total. Pretty incredible. Definitely one of those things where it's like, okay, combo points are incredibly useful, and as you level up these extra skills, it's only going to get stronger. Moving on from there, I did want to go ahead and grab Dash. I needed more movement on my rogue to make sure I could survive through everything. And then after that, grab Poison Trap because all my other attacks were physical. It was very nice to add some poison damage. And finally, Poison Imbuement so I can make my skills have poison effects as well because I get bonus damage if they're inside my Poison Trap on all my poison damage. So, decent build here. Does carry you through pretty much anything you could possibly need. But the traps, obviously, when it says you can have forearm traps at once, it's like 10-second cooldown before you can place a trap. And it it's like you're typically in motion, so you're not going to set down 4 traps. It just doesn't really happen in that way unless you're trying to bait something over and it doesn't notice you yet. Um, Overall, it's a very cool character. The specialization really adds a nice enhancement to the character. And I don't even have the best gear. Like, yes, I have one legendary weapon, but its power is low. I've got a blade that's like 80 more damage per second. It's like 200 damage per second. That'll be equipping on that as soon as I'm level 20. Um, I do like its versatility between close range and long range with the abilities and how you utilize them. Overall, though, this character has been the most squishy for me, and although it has versatility, it feels like if you're going for the melee and then range build for this, it might be tougher than just going pure ranged and just staying as far away from enemies as possible. It's still a very fun build, and I could see it being one of the most powerful builds in the end game. But as of right now, I can't really put my full faith into it. It handles everything that I need it to, but I just feel like there's just one ability that's missing, which obviously I'm level 17. There's other abilities that I unlock as I go down. There's still 2 more tiers. Well, not 2 more tiers, 1 more tier of actual abilities, and then just passives at the end. So I'll at least be able to get Death Trap or Rain of Arrows or even Shadow Clone, which for me Shadow Clone, fine. I like that one. Rain of Arrows, also like that one. But these are super long cooldowns. So it won't feel like you're getting a ton out of it, if that makes sense. That's my only concern with this character. It's just, it has power. It's got some of the right things, but I feel like it's just missing one more damage ability that can be used a bit more continuously, or even being able to like easily swap between your melee strike or like a ranged one, like because you got to redo the skill points each time. I don't know. Just something about this seems to be lacking. All right, let's move on to the next character. And don't worry, guys, I'll be showing off the Sorceress last because obviously they've got the best stuff and they're going to be able to show you, how to utilize things together to make yourself immortal in a sense. No pun intended on Diablo Immortals. All right, so On this Barbarian, we got this really dope ring. Lucky hit, damaging enemies with Leap, Upheaval, or Whirlwind has 49% chance to summon an Ancient to perform the same skill. So if you're running around doing Whirlwind 90% of the time, or even Leap to recover your Fury to keep Whirlwinding, then you're just proccing an Ancient to come out and do the same thing. Very, very useful ring. If you have this, and you're going to be pretty darn strong. For one of my swords, basic skills gain 32% attack speed, and the whole point of my Frenzy is you get bonus attack speed as you keep using Frenzy. So really, really good for stacking up my DPS because of attack speed using that. The chest one just gives me the barrier, and the head one, it's a weaker one, 2.5 life per second for each up close enemy, up to 18 life. But that's pretty nice for constant healing on myself. I get a shield on myself, I get a duplicate, and then I also get faster attacks. There's a lot more that I can do on this character, but he's just at level 15, so he's just at the point where he's going to get special abilities on everything and be able to really enhance himself out there. As far as the skills that we went for a little bit of Frenzy, which we need to finish out now. Ooh, the damage reduction, ensure that you live. Yeah, let's go ahead and hit the combat frenzy there. But then we also have Whirlwind. We just stacked onto that. I tried out a few of the others, like Upheaval was dope, and Hammer of the Ancients is always a classic. But Whirlwind was just way more useful to me. Into a Rallying Cry and Leap. So the reason why I run Leap is partially because you get 40 Fury as long as you hit one enemy. And then with Rallying Cry, you get bonus resource generation and bonus Fury if you max it out with Tactical. So we're basically recovering 65 of your Fury across those two moves, and then from there you can add whatever additional like damage type abilities that you want to add in. Because the cooldowns on Barbarians are pretty clean, they're pretty short, so you can really, really get aggressive with it. Overall, I would definitely suggest the Frenzy into Whirlwind build, just because the attack speed that you're boosting from your Frenzy, it's just nasty. And then, of course, the Rallying Cry. From there, do what you want. I chose Leap initially for a bit more mobility, and then when I saw the Fury bonus, I was like, okay, that's the one. So as far as it goes, Barbarians, very cool. They feel fast enough. Something about the Rogue felt slow in cooldowns. But it also constantly recovers its energy. Instead of with rage, you have to keep attacking to get your rage up, otherwise it goes away. So that's why the cooldowns are shorter, because your rage doesn't, I guess, last forever. That's what I'm saying about Barbarians here. And then they have this expertise column where as you use weapons, they get stronger and stronger. And then you get additional bonuses to those weapons based on you using them. Very, very useful. It's like a really cool system. But like rank 10 additional bonuses, if it's like, it seems like it stops at rank 10, you're going to get all these weapons up to rank 10 in no time. And you can't even currently get the weapon technique because the spot it is on the map is outside our range. We can't go over here at all. We can barely even, we can't even go in here. So it's kind of frustrating in that end, because we're stuck unable to unlock our passive ability on Barbarians when both the other classes have the opportunity. But let's go ahead and show you a Sorceress now, so you can kind of see true power. The Sorceress is pretty nasty. I love the Barbarian and the Rogue. I think the Barbarian is probably the most casual if you don't want to pay attention and just want to live through anything. The Barbarian's fantastic for that. But I made a gear set on my Sorceress that basically has a similar effect. So let's go ahead and look. I am wearing a bunch of legendaries, but some of these were rares that have been upgraded to legendaries and stuff like that. I got this one recently, and obviously I'm not going to replace my healing armor for it yet, but I thought it was pretty cool. But I'm not using Frost Nova, I'm using Frozen Orb, so not really as useful. So as far as it goes on this character, before we even go into the abilities, it's about the armor. This character doesn't die for a few different reasons. When hit while not healthy, a magic bubble summoned around me for 7.5 seconds. Anyone inside that bubble is completely immune. It can only occur every 90 seconds, so obviously it has a long cooldown, but basically, if I get close to not dying, or if I get close to dying, Magical Bubble keeps me alive for 7.5 seconds so I can figure out my next move and clear the waves. Then, damaging an elite enemy gets me a barrier of 270 damage. I only have 420 health, so a 270 barrier is actually quite powerful, right? I can stack that with my ice armor and basically get a full barrier of my entire health pool. Then, whenever enemies are too close to me, I'm constantly healing. 7.2 life per second for each enemy that's up close, up to 36 life per second, so I could be recovering almost a tenth of my life every single second while getting shields, while getting barriers. Next, we have attacking enemies with basics, improves my core skill damage. So that's very useful because obviously you got to use basics to generate your mana so you can keep casting. We also run with the unstoppable boots. Nothing too special about these. We just wore those because they had the right power. They had armor, they had stuff like that. Finally, I use a two-handed staff, deal up to 30% increased damage, 18.6% per second while standing still. It's useful, the ability, but it's not like the craziest thing in the world, and you do actually move around a fair chunk in this game, so it's not as powerful as it might seem. Overall, though, these all stack pretty nicely together, and you'll see like +1 rank on Blizzard on that one. You'll see on this one, it's +1 Frozen Orb, +1 Fireball. So I'm getting bonus abilities with my armors and really boosting the abilities that matter for me. Let's go ahead and grab those gems. Now let's go into my abilities. I have one more available point. I don't know what it was telling me there. That was weird. It was like, don't forget about your core skills when you got the full page full. Yeah, so I went with Spark to start. It can actually like kind of stun them in place for a second. It doesn't necessarily say that they're stunned, but it has like a tiny knockback, let's put it that way. Then I run Frozen Orb, Chilling Orb, which like freezes them solid. And then Ice Armor. The armor keeps you alive and it increases your magic regeneration if you choose the right setup. Hydra. One of the biggest ones for this build is Hydra. As soon as you can get to it, you should unlock it, start leveling it up, get it an additional head, and then make it burn enemies for more damage. Hydra kills so many enemies for me that would typically take me a ton of grind to knock them down. On the next tier, I went over for Blizzard. Blizzard's always been a fun one for me. It's not crazy powerful in this version, but say you call down 8 Blizzards and kind of stack it. Obviously, you won't have enough mana to call down actually 8 of them, but it's pretty useful. And then I actually slotted that in my passive ability slot, which I'll show you guys that in a moment. And finally, I unlocked on Inferno. Inferno's the final skill that I got for this, and your pyromancy skills cost no mana while Inferno's active. See, the problem with that is I don't have many pyromancy skills. It's literally just the Hydra. So it's a benefit, but it's not like the biggest benefit in the world. But let me show you guys what Hydra looks like. Oh, we're like in the middle of this place. Dang. But as far as it goes, the reason why this one works so well is obviously the gear is good. Obviously, the skill setup works. But, for example, if you were to send up Frozen Orbs, look how much that takes, right? Your Hydra here, this guy right here, can take out way more than what your Frozen Orbs can. It's just, it has to take out kind of individually. Now, if I call out this little snake here, I can cast this without costing any mana. So I could go for a full fire build and be expecting to drop this as often as possible and just go nasty with it. But I really prefer to call down like multiple of these and then have my Hydras do the work, and I can run around like this, throw Frozen Armor, drop an extra Blizzard, and then I naturally have a Blizzard that follows me every once in a while, because under the skills here, you see the tree? You can drag one of your skills to a passive skill slot when you unlock it at level 15. So now I have Blizzard dealing bonus damage to frozen enemies, and every 15 seconds I get a Blizzard over me that lasts for 6 seconds. So it's really only a 9-second cooldown between the ending of the Blizzard to the next Blizzard starting. So very, very useful there, and my Blizzard isn't even fully maxed out yet. 2 of those points are from items anyways, so it could be even stronger. I believe each tier you add to it makes it a better ability in terms of its passive. So that's as much as what I got right now, guys. There's a ton of stuff I'll be doing on these characters. I know I only got a few hours left before they shut off services until next weekend. But I'll be coming back on next weekend with these characters as high leveled as they are. Potentially, some of them will be hitting level 20. So I'll have my Sorceress level 25, both the others at level 20, hopefully before the end of the day today. And then next week I can really grind out whatever you guys might want to see or might have questions about. Let me know in the comments down below what questions you guys might have. If you guys want me to try out any specific builds, because I can try out just about any build. And thank you guys so much for watching.